Hey, everybody. I'm Anna Morgan, your career BFF, and this is the Your Career BFF podcast. And I'm here with one of my besties, Mr. Dan. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Well, Anna, thank you. Dan Vasquenza. I live down here in Georgia, not too far from Anna,
Yeah,
and made that move. I can't believe it's been 19, almost 20 years now. I grew up in the
yeah.
Northeast and took a year off before I went to college, played high school sports, walked on Division II basketball, finally went to college in New Hampshire, got cut my sophomore year, changed my life. And
Oof.
most of my professional career from there has been always in wanting to be around sports. So
Okay.
I've been very fortunate in 4 decades to make that most of my professional career. It's been in media with sports teams or in that sort of industry for quite some time, and then transitioned out during COVID to work
Mm,
with a nonprofit that I met with my last corporate job, which was the Atlanta Hawks
okay.
in Culture City, and poured into them for about 10 months, and then slowly started to build my own business, which has now been, I guess, roughly 4 years, which is a sales and
Congratulations.
marketing firm. Thank you. It's exhilarating, it's scary, it's exciting, it's painful, it's lonely, it's just amazing. So all
Yes.
those things balled into one is
Yeah. And our paths crossed through some mutual connections through Scott McGregor and Kathy Love with the Outlier Project, which is a community group of entrepreneurs, people first leaders that are really striving to be extraordinary. And you and I were one of the first outliers in the Atlanta market and met IRL, I guess, January last year. And made this hilarious connection that you're with a marketing agency now owned by Kristen Sellier, who was a longtime closed networking buddy of mine, where she did some marketing for me. I helped find some staff for her. And what a pleasant surprise to know that you all were connected. And I think that's also just the power of always believing that the dots will connect and trusting that the right people will come into your life at the right time, right?
yeah, so well said. People over everything. I didn't know that you and I were like one of the first in Atlanta.
We
And
have to
instant,
be.
yeah, you might be right because it's still an early adopted sort of organization and community that Scott amazingly has built.
Yeah.
And obviously, you became a favorite for me because you supported our local event here in Atlanta with Culture City. And then after meeting you and all the connection points, it was like, yeah, I guess your BFF is a good reference.
Yes, exactly. I definitely want to talk more about Culture City, but while we were
Yeah.
discussing kind of your career journey and you were in sports and sports partnership for a long time, what was the tipping point from sports and partnership, corporate sales, and then into entrepreneurship and advocacy?
You had it really well said earlier when you just start to think about or notice dots starting to connect, things
Mhm.
just fall into place. Very similar situation for me now. Here we are many years later to look back and go, oh, okay, now that makes sense. I finally landed the dream job, which is I always wanted to be around professional sports. I knew I wasn't going to play it. And to be in the NBA working locally with the Atlanta Hawks was a dream job. I was there at a great time, 5 seasons, leadership of Steve Koonin, who came in and transformed the whole fan experience and everything about our brand. So I was there at a great time, worked around a lot of
Yeah.
talented people, learned a lot. And in that journey, about 2 years in, is when I met the nonprofit Culture City, which
Okay.
we'll talk a little bit about. And it started to further identify itself in its alignment with who I am and where I wanted to go and who I wanted to be and where I wanted
Beautiful.
to pour in. So in
Okay.
addition to that same year, I had a really interesting 90 days
Ah.
in 2017, and that
Mm.
was September of 17. I got introduced to Jesse Itzler, who became that was the beginning of him becoming a mentor to me and still is to this
Oh,
day.
okay. I
So that
didn't
was in
realize that.
September. Yeah,
You're a
September
lucky
that
man.
happened. Man, I'm telling you, I got so lucky. And he's just, if you're not following him, any of your viewers
Oh,
here, Jesse Itzler,
yes.
Sarah Blakely's husband, both of
Mhm.
them are great to follow. I know most women would recognize Sarah, maybe not so much Jesse. He's just an incredible human being, and I've learned so much, and he's been a great guide for me. So that was September. October, I'm at Culture City. I went through the
Okay.
training as we became a partner with Culture City, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. November, I lost my dad. In 90 days, as I look back on that, it completely became transformative for me. I am today, and those things that started to evolve, great word,
Yeah.
as we got into COVID. And I
Hmm.
know I should use that word loosely because in some cases for other people, it wasn't really a time to celebrate. There were lives lost, and I do want to
Hmm.
recognize that. So
Right.
fortunately, I was on the other end of it. Not many people close to me were affected. And it
Yes.
became really a good platform for me,
Okay.
foundationally. And that was kind of it. Transition out of the Hawks to your question
Mhm.
became the end of that year in December. And I poured into Culture City for 10 months and then realized, hey, this is great, but I got to start making money and slowly started to build my business.
Okay. Now, we have both shared this before the recording that we have neurodiverse children. And so
Mm.
I'm curious how your journey as a parent to a neurodiverse son has influenced or impacted your advocacy work and the mission with Culture City.
So well said. And thank you for bringing that up. And I'm so glad you're open
Mm.
to being a parent to it because it's super important how we can help others. And
Yeah.
that's really it, Anna. I
Yeah.
see the life through Jack's eyes,
I know.
and it makes my mission and service to communities that much easier.
Okay.
How can we, before Culture City existed, knowing experiences that Jack and I had public places, how can we make that a little more for other families and other
Hmm.
individuals? So
Yeah.
that's really the tipping point for me. The mission every day is what can I do today to help someone else's life be a little more comfortable, knowing some of the challenges that as parents we might recognize more
Hmm.
with neurodiverse kids than those that don't have them,
Yeah.
and what we need to be aware of outside of the house.
Can we unpack that a little bit more? Because again, as a mom of a neurodiverse child who has these just roller coaster ups and downs, and honestly, today, fairly emotional about my kiddo. But
Mm.
how do you tell us about Jack and how you see the world through his eyes? And what do some of kids like Jack and kids like my daughter Charlotte, what are they experiencing as a neurodiverse human being that Culture City helps solve? And then I can share a little bit of Charlotte's feedback of attending the Hawks event with us last year.
Mm. It was so touching to see the experience Charlotte had, and just to, as you being a
Yeah.
mom, to express that to me and get to know you a little bit more, and
Yeah.
having that community and similar, if you will, as
Yeah.
parents. Look, it's super easy from the experiences of seeing Jack and what he deals with. Most of those things he's matured out of, sort of grown and adapted to, and then new things come up. So
Okay.
let's start with your question, which is a really good one. Neurodiverse is really the new term, if you will, about
Yeah.
the special needs community. The alignment is it's invisible disabilities,
Hmm.
which represent 84% of disabilities, 16% we can see with the naked eye, 84% we can't, which is a lot like Charlotte and Jack.
I'm sorry. I have to
So
pick my mouth up off the floor because 84%
84%.
like invisible disabilities is just something for our listeners to really take in because we are interacting with these kids and adults everywhere and
So well said.
maybe judging and making assumptions based on what we can't see. And I know this all too well.
You do. And look, and it makes me think as you're talking, a summary of this is a term that we've been hearing often lately, and it probably got popularized coming out of COVID.
Okay.
You don't know what other people are going through.
Yes.
Can't be more definable for this community of invisible disabilities
Hmm.
and sensory needs. And really, that's the trigger point of what you and I are talking about. We know
Hmm.
as parents. For those viewers that might be new to this, and that's okay, it'll be a majority of your viewers because the
Right.
CDC reports 75% of the population do not fall into invisible disabilities and sensory needs. So let's do the flip of that. 25%, one out of four individuals are kids like Charlotte and Jack.
Jack. Okay.
Okay. And
Whew.
what happens when we have senses? We all know and recognize the most common five. There's really eight. Don't ask me to get into a deep dive of the other three, but a lot of them have to do with where you're positioned in your body, things that might be around you. All of these things between sight, sound, feel, touch, and some of these other senses have everything to do with environment. We have a
Okay.
safe space in our own homes. There's not a safe space when we walk out our doors. And in some
Mm.
cases, they're able to regulate.
Mhm.
during those environments and be fine. And in some situations where we're unprepared, they don't. And
Right.
that's really where Culture City comes in to make the preparation, to make the accessibility, to create the inclusion in public places, anywhere from a restaurant and a coffee shop, the MLB All Star Game, which is what we were partnered with here in Atlanta and
Mhm.
have been with MLB for many years. And every NBA team now is a partner. And we're on tour with Coldplay. So there's big, huge events going on where we're
Awesome.
able to serve and get our community to go, okay, Charlotte, guess what? We can go to that Coldplay concert. I know you've always wanted to see him.
Yeah.
There's accessibility in place. There's resources. There's sensory rooms that
Okay.
are available at the concerts. There's sensory bags, toys, communication cards if they get really overwhelmed, they can't talk, or they might be nonverbal. How I
Wow.
feel, what I need. So
Mm.
glasses for lighting. So
Mm.
again, introducing this to the community that might not be as familiar with who we parent and who we
Mhm.
see as our community, invisible disabilities and sensory needs. That's really the gist of it. We go into public places like State Farm Arena, which is who I met when I worked for the Hawks. And again, in October 2017, changed my life going through the training. That's step one. We
Yes.
train the staff
Kudos
at the
to
venue.
it was the Hawks that was driving
Correct.
these diversity initiatives, essentially.
And I love that you stated that because our approach through our chief DEI officer at the time with the Hawks,
Mhm.
Zing Shaw, was proactive,
Yes.
where some other organizations had to be reactive to a PR nightmare. And
Yes.
I won't publicize some of those organizations. Their partners. We're extremely grateful for that opportunity. It's opened up a lot of doors for us intentionally. And that's what it
Yeah.
needs to be. It needs to be intentional. So we do the training for the staffs, and then we deploy once they get to a certain percentage of those that have trained, we deploy the sensory bags to that venue. In some cases, we'll build a sensory room, which is constructed inside the building. It's a small space. It could be under a stairwell, like we did at State Farm Arena, a
Right.
closet. It doesn't need to be a big area.
Yeah. So we were privileged enough to experience the sensory room last year, and that was the highlight of Charlotte's day. And
Right.
as a 15-year-old at the time, she was so impressed, made a TikTok and shared it with her whole
Oh,
team,
cool.
18 followers. But that speaks volumes when our kids take action to share, like, hey, this is possible because they're
Mm,
at school building relationships with similar kids and then get home. There's a lot of that masking at school, and you see
mm,
the going to their safe space, staying in their bedroom for unreasonable amounts of time, in my opinion. I know that's how she regenerates and
so good.
gets ready for the next day. Kudos to you and Culture City and the Hawks and the NBA and Coldplay as well. Now, like, what other advice would you share with parents or people that want to advocate to create more inclusive environments? And with my audience being people first leaders, HR, talent, and recruiting, I don't think supporting this population is top of mind many of the times. From organizations I've consulted with to places I've worked, I'm the one asking the hands, is there a question when we're scheduling an interview for candidates that need
Oh,
accommodations? And so
yeah.
many are missing that because
So well said.
some might be judged that they're not good with eye contact. And that's
Yep.
very common with autistic, brilliant talent. So,
Without
what kind of tips and tricks would you give for leaders of organizations, that want to prioritize these inclusive environments?
Thank you for that platform. It's a super important one. At the end of the day, as we all know, the pathway for any human on this planet for independence is a job.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at our community, invisible disabilities, neurodiverse, sensory needs, this is such an unseen, unrecognized population. They don't self promote and they get lost. They don't find jobs. However, and I'll just use one statistic, and I just looked this up. It's a little old, it's a couple years old,
Okay.
but qualified, right? Skilled, trained, educated for a specific job
Mm-hmm.
and unemployed is 73% just for the autistic community. Now, that's one group of who we serve that
Mm-hmm.
is really more like 20 groups. And here's where
Mm.
I want to go. There's two areas. One is the 1 out of 4 population that we recognize. I think my son thinks it's 1 out of 2. I think it's at least 1 out of 3. Let's zero base this just in general terms.
Mm-hmm.
We all have baggage. We all have things
What
and
are you
experiences in our
talking
life.
about, Dan? I
There
just kidding. Lots
I like that, that's good. There
of
look, there's some perfect ones out there like you, Anna. I'm not perfect.
Hey,
I've had
the
some
trauma
post-traumatic stress
makes me
disorder,
who I am today.
right? Look, I've had some post-traumatic stress disorder in my life, and by the way, that's part of our community.
Yeah.
Any traumatic experiences anyone's had, I don't know anyone's not had one. Where I'm going with it is, as an employer, I'm
Mhm.
sure anyone that sits across from your desk has some sort of trauma that they've been able to heal or not heal.
Right.
That gets brought into the workforce. So I
1000%.
think there's a bigger population than what we're talking about,
Mhm.
and I just want to recognize that to leaders.
Yes.
Number two, to your question, which is great. Why is this important? We'll just talk about our community. Back to unseen, unrecognized, unnoticed, skilled. The gift is never found in their skills because they know what we want to do as an organization, and it'll be the next movement for us. We've done this with
Exciting.
a handful of organizations, one being Lego. We do want to get into the workforce. We want to go train leadership and every employee within that organization. So again, they can create the environment for them to succeed. So
Amazing.
there's great agencies out there that are preparing these individuals for interviewing, right? You just came up with one identifiable way to do that is what are the questions to ask? These are all important things
And
as the
if you're a company asking these questions, you're immediately from an employer brand and candidate experience signaling, your culture and potential psychological safety, which is a differentiator when you're dealing with candidate competition.
so well said, right?
Yeah.
Differentiator is a real good one. And all what do we all want in the workforce? Diversity.
Yes.
We don't want all minds thinking the same. We don't want all the same backgrounds.
Mm-mm.
We don't want all the same looks. We want different opinions,
Yes.
ethnicity, looks, backgrounds, experiences that they can all bring into the melting pot to create innovation, to
Yeah.
create unbelievable experiences and culture, because that's the way it gets done. If we all think the
Mm.
same, we all
We're in
act
a
the same.
vacuum. Yeah.
We're in a vacuum. We don't
So
get innovative and our business goes out.
so Culture City partners with workforce development or
That's our
pu
next movement.
public organizations that are supporting this population for work readiness.
Correct. It's sustainability.
Okay.
If there's readiness that we could be a part of, there's a lot of great agencies doing. I'm
Mhm.
sure if you're a leader or you own a company or you're hiring, you're seeing some of these organizations that are approaching you.
Mhm.
I would ask that you look into that. I would also ask that you keep an open mind is when we hire them, what happens? That's
Mm.
what we want to influence is once they
Mm.
get hired, what's going on in those four walls, outside those four walls that they work remote, what's the culture and how are they going to succeed?
Mhm.
Look, we just started training first responders, we Culture City 5 years ago. If
Mm.
we can train first responders,
Mhm.
we can train anybody. So do you think we
100%.
can create an environment for someone to have a skill and walk in and succeed? Hell yeah. And that's going to be the next move. And that's why I think it's so important for organizations to go,
Mhm.
hey, we've not thought of this. I do know this. If you are in TNA, which most of the viewers probably are,
Mhm.
there's a workforce challenge everywhere. So
Yes.
this is another avenue that no one's really tapped into yet. By
Mhm.
the way, you're going to have tremendous success. I would challenge your viewers and maybe even yourself, Anna, and I'm going to go
Yeah.
back and review this. I want you all to go to AI or go into Google, however you do your search,
Uh-huh.
and I want you to type in 60 minutes autism community getting hired. A video will pop up. I think it's 16 minutes long. It's a 60 minutes piece on how these other companies like Microsoft, I believe Walgreens, have hired autistic individuals and the success they're having. That is
Amazing.
one blueprint. That is one speck in the sand of the beach that we can create together.
That is amazing. I raised my hand to get involved too, whether it's working with the job seekers, the talent, or eventually to work with the businesses as well. Because
Love
again,
you
I
for that.
think the ripple effect and impact that is going to be possible is immense. And while so many people think all the robots are going to take our job,
Yeah.
I've been watching the trends for 20 years in this space, and my spidey sense is, as always, there's going to be that tipping point where people exhaust on the AI train, right?
Mm,
I will say
so good.
some of the most savvy AI innovators are neurodiverse.
Thank you. Yep.
We are the folks that are, I don't know, catapulting into the next dimension per se,
Yes.
because of the beautiful way our fast brains work. And I meant to pull more data on this to share with you today because I thought you would find it fascinating. Where I would say the normie, the normal brain leader, whether it's HR executive on the board, is not prioritizing AI in the way that neurodiverse leaders are. So I think that is an interesting statistic, and wondering if you or your son have noticed that as well.
100%. I actually just did a piece on it today. We had a 11:45 call with some other leaders about what this AI tool is that we're using at Ideate has gotten us three pieces of business. So I agree with you. And what we believe at Ideate and what I believe as a leader
Mhm.
is it's AI and human. It's
Oh,
not AI
100%.
eliminating human. It's
Mhm.
how do they work together? And this is the new world. And if organizations don't start moving with it, they're going to be
Mhm.
out of business in 5 years, or they're going to have a lot of struggles with their business in those 5 years. It
Yeah.
has got to be implemented. It's got to be implemented in the right ways. It might eliminate some jobs and might help open up other jobs. The bottom is it's an efficiency way to run your business. It's an
Mhm.
effective way to run your business with the right machine and the right human together. That's the
100%.
key. And that's the other part of this community that I represent. We can understand what roles they probably aren't a good fit for, like you do
Mhm.
with anybody that you're interviewing. You can also see what roles they fit very well in, and I can tell you the consistency with the roles they fit very well in, and you'll see it on the 60 Minutes piece,
Very cool.
is consistent, focused work that most people don't have the bandwidth to do, to sit there and complete and in a time frame that is going to save the company money or grow the company. And you'll understand what I mean by that statement when you watch the 60 Minutes piece. And I
Mhm.
hate to have people go elsewhere for it, but it really speaks volumes of where we need to go as a organization in the business
Mhm.
world.
Absolutely. Oh,
Thank
so
you for
many.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started using AI probably now 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I was so pleasantly surprised at the administrative lift that allowed me to be more present and focus on building relationships with my hiring teams and stakeholders, as well as being able to be more responsive to candidates,
Mm,
because I take it a lot of pride in the work I do as a recruiter, and our reputation and integrity is everything. So being able to have a tool that takes away the write-ups and the research and really gets me that data faster really empowers me to create even better candidate and hiring manager relationships and experiences. It's here, it's going to stay like the cell phone, but I think how
mm.
companies and individuals use it is a little bit different. Tying into Culture City, your organization hosted your gala last year, and that was at the aquarium, which was such a treat at the end of, was it at the end of January too?
We had it originally scheduled for
Mhm.
January. We had the
No,
snow.
that's
Remember the crazy snow?
right.
And all my friends are like, "We're still coming into town." They were flying in. I'm like,
Yeah, we're like
"Okay."
driving down, trying to see everyone. But are you
We kinda
host
made our own party on that
Yeah.
January timeframe.
Are you hosting that again this year?
Oh, 100%. Yep.
And when is it gonna be? Tell us about it.
Thank you. March 6th, good
Okay.
news, we'll be back at the aquarium again, March 6th, 2026. It's a Friday night. Super excited about this date because there's no conflicts with anything. March Madness
Perfect.
hadn't started yet. NFL's done. There's no Masters going on. So it's a fundamental date that I said to our co-founder, Dr. Julian Maha. I said, we need to own the weekend of March, the first weekend of March for
Yes.
this annual event. He's like, I totally agree. I'm like, it's a great date. So thank you for that. March
Yeah.
6th. It's all to support Culture
Mm.
City. It's a celebration of an awards gala to
Okay.
honor our partners and tell their story and how they're using our resources in the
Awesome.
communities that they work, live, and serve.
Beautiful. Say a VP from Delta is listening
Oh my
and
gosh, please.
hey, I've got some friends over there. We can BD
Oh,
that together. Okay. How would you want them to get a hold of you if they've loved this conversation and want to
oh,
know
thank
about
you.
training their employees and how they can build a more inclusive workforce for their employees? Reach out on LinkedIn, send you
Yeah,
a text, email. What's the best way?
Thanks. LinkedIn, thank you.
Okay.
Real easy with my email address with Culture City. Please understand it's spelled with a K, Culture City, all one
Yes.
word. So it's super easy. Dan. That's my first name, Dan.
Got
So
it.
Dan at culturecity.org,
Y-
nonprofit.org, culturecity.org, Dan. So thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. So, through the Outlier Project, we attended the Culture City Gala. We'll be back this year.
Thank you.
I tend to put myself in different experiences so that I can find that innovation. And one of the most recent ones was Running Man. And you had a team that Running Man is put on by Jesse Itzler and his crew. That is a wellness festival concert, community building experience. And I know you had a team, you raised money, and we didn't get to see each other a ton, but
Are you
I was
ready?
you were doing more running than I was. I did my 4.5, 5 miles that I was like, I'm ready for an ice bath.
You went out there. Oh,
Tell us about the experience and how many miles did you run? I don't think I know that.
you're sweet. I wasn't prepared as I would like to be from a training standpoint. I would like to probably admit we had 10 folks running, and as a team, we went over 178 miles. So I was super excited
Wow.
about that. We had some first time ever ran a marathon. So we had four of those on our team.
Wow. That's an
I just
accomplishment.
yeah, it's a very, and that's the theme of this event
Yes.
for anybody that goes to Running Man Festival is like, hey, I've never run a 5K. Set the stage like I'm going to do a 5K. They end up doing a 10K.
Yeah, I
Or
was
hey,
like,
I've
"I'm
run a
gonna do a
marathon.
5K," and I did
You
four
did
and a
6
half miles.
miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the theme with everybody at this event. That's important for everybody to know
Mhm.
about the benefit of this event. And the
Yes.
benefit of this event is you understand that you're capable of more. You
Mm,
understand that there's a community of like minded folks that you're surrounded by. These strangers become your best friends. The
mhm.
stories are impactful. The connection is like nothing you'll ever have in 3 days
Yes.
other than going to Evolve
Yeah, thank you.
in January on your birthday.
Yes.
It's those things that we all search for as human. It's humanity at its best on a
Mhm.
field for 3 days, camping out. And it's like what Jesse says that I love. If Walt Disney put together a wellness festival, this is what it would be. So anybody that's an expert in fill in the category in wellness,
Yeah.
yoga, running, breathing, mindset, they're going to be there. They're going to have talks. And that
Yeah.
was the downside of us running was I was missing all the good experts that I wanted to go sit in and listen.
I was able to
Um,
sit into some of the sessions, and the activations and the
cool.
vendors that they had there were amazing. It was hot, but for our listeners, you don't have to be an extreme athlete or a super runner to attend this. So I'm glad I did it. It definitely pushed some significant edges for me as being a bougie hotel traveler.
You were clamping though. It was kind of bougie
It was
camping.
kind
It was a cot. You weren't on the
Yeah,
ground. It was
I
kind of
mean,
cool.
it was a fun time. So many laughs, so many supportive people, and people would just run by and start up a conversation or encourage you. And I'm looking forward to next year. I was definitely uncomfortable sometimes, but like I said, I'm so glad that I did it. And some of the relationships and friendships that are already blooming from spending time in the field have been amazing. So I'm excited.
So we'll all be back next year. Thank
We'll
you
be
for your
back next
question.
year. Yeah,
Yeah, Culture
and
City is going to put together a Culture City Fit team again.
cool.
And that was
My
it. They all peer to peer fundraised. We bought their entry into the event, depending on what they triggered for a fundraise. We want to keep it real
awesome.
simple. We had a few sponsors involved. I'm pretty happy with how things went. We're going to grow it
Good.
next year. It was a great event. And thank you for that. It was so much
Yeah.
fun.
And kudos to you for just being that idea generator and creator to bring those partnerships together. And I think that's what's fantastic and exciting about just entrepreneurship is that, like we said at the beginning, you can connect those dots and realize, wow, they have an adjacent passion. Why don't we
Oh,
have a conversation to figure out how we can
so well
serve
said.
more people? And people are probably tired of hearing me say this, but collaboration over competition,
Yeah, so
having that
cool.
abundant mindset over
Yeah.
the scarcity mindset and trusting there's enough recruiting business to go around, there's enough tech business to go around, there's enough whatever it may be. And embodying that energy for me has served me well. But I think about elevating the entire collective of the
Mm,
world of work. And so I'm not going to stop talking about collaborating because that's where the magic is. That's where
totally.
Evolve, I brought in a fantastic group of diverse people who shared a mutual passion of elevating this space. And we had a great time. And Evolve is coming back in 2026. And you're going to step on stage and talk to hiring leaders about creating these inclusive environments. So I'm excited to
Well,
have
thank you for
you and the team back.
Oh, thank you for that. And look, Anna, what you did was amazing. It's a good story about where you're taking things and being a little modest here. For anybody here that's viewing or listening or seeing this, it's a lesson for you. It's a lesson for you to look inside yourself and know that you can do more than you think. Know
Yeah.
that what you might be dreaming could be a reality one day. You had
Mhm.
this idea, it was scary, you stepped into it and you made it happen. And the
Yeah.
best part about it, you smiled the entire time. With
Well,
there's a lot you've got to manage. There's like pots and pans banging in your head. How could they not be with you're getting pulled with this, you got that, you got attendees, you got sponsors. So kudos to you.
thank
And
you.
it's just, look, Anna, you're a good example to what you say and what you do.
Thank
And
you.
if anybody's thinking about something like, I wish I could or I want to,
Yeah,
step into it. Absolutely step into it. I stepped into this thing at Running Man. Did it go the way I thought it would go? No. Was it an end result? Fantastic achievement? 100%.
100%. Yeah.
Did I want 25 people on our team? Yes. Did we get that? No. But guess what? The 12 that came and did this,
Busted their
the things they
butts.
said to
Yeah.
me are irreplaceable. And I know
Oh,
next year we'll make it bigger.
yeah.
But you did the same thing on a bigger scale.
Oh, thank
So
you.
just know that if you have something you really want to do, just freaking go for it. Just go
Yeah.
for it. Just figure it out. Like ready, fire, aim. Just go.
People always compliment me on my ability to just build, right? And the ability to take aligned, imperfect action. Now, I went
Mm,
into planning Evolve knowing I had 89 days and my people
mm,
pleaser. I want everyone to experience joy and connection and elevated learning and having to accept the reality that someone's not going to be happy that there wasn't enough sanitizer and there was too many hugs or
you're like,
whatever
well,
it may be, right? But this year we have a bigger, brighter space. I have moved it over to the Marriott. So there's a little less
congrats.
of Anna Morgan playing the role of shopper, lifter, everything. So
With a
that
smile.
will, yes. what,
Incredible.
what people don't see, and I do try to share like the behind the scenes of the building in public, the failing forward, and failure is the greatest lesson. Those humble, oh, I totally forgot to put that speaker on the agenda. Or I'm not really sure what the caterer just put out because he went totally rogue on the lunch. And anyway, so now being in a bigger container, I have more support. I know to outsource more and just so grateful for community that has shown up and said, I want to speak, I want to sponsor, I
Love
want
it.
to volunteer. And that wouldn't have been possible without our outlier crew. So, anything you want to leave our audience with today? This has
You're
been a
killing
fantastic conversation. Thank you for making the time. And I can't wait to give you a hug IRL sometime
it.
soon.
Yep. Can't wait for that. And yes, thank you. Thank you for this. Can't
Yeah.
believe this is your third episode. As I said earlier, it seems like it's 333.
Wow. Thank
I
you.
can't wait for you to do Evolve at State Farm Arena in 2030.
Or
So
the
congratulations
aquarium.
on
I'm
that.
like, "Oh, I need an
Or the
intro
aquarium.
the at the aquarium." Y'all, the gala, you have beluga whales, like, swimming behind you. It is the most amazing place. I could have stayed
Oh,
there all night.
it is soothing. It's funny because I'm like, are we in the tank or are they in the tank? It's like they're looking at us going, look at these humans in the tank. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so
I'm
funny.
excited.
Thank you
I'm
so much,
excited for next
Dan.
year.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will
Likewise.
make sure that we share all the details in the show notes so you can find more information about Culture City. We'll include a Running Man for next year, as well as the Outlier Project and how you can get a hold of my career BFF, Dan. Thanks so much.
Ah,
See ya.
thank you.
All
All right. See
right.
you.